How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the corner. I'm the DM as always, and today I want to talk about RuneScape because apparently they're going to be taking a new approach to microtransactions. I haven't read their blog yet. I want to, but first I want to see what they're going to talk about when it comes to this and how they intend on fixing RuneScape 3.
Our MTX approach is harming RuneScape, and it's time that we took action.
5 seconds in, just gotta say, good on them. Getting right to the point, acknowledging their fuck up.
RuneScape 3 is almost 25 years old, and we wholeheartedly believe that this game has many more years ahead of it. If we want to go from where we are today, where, bluntly, our population isn't really growing, to decades of a booming community, then it's time we take some big swings, even when they aren't easy or simple.
Yeah, no, what he's saying here is absolutely true. RuneScape has been in a steady decline of population for a really long time. I'm pretty sure it's like essentially since RuneScape 3 came out. The evolution of combat really kind of did a number on the game's population because a lot of players saw it as them taking a more traditional MMO approach versus what made RuneScape unique, which was it wasn't a traditional MMO.
This isn't a fluffy thing to say, it's our mission statement. We love this game and it deserves to thrive. The era of a tainted RuneScape 3 is coming to an end. When our work is done, we want every single player to feel the same ownership that we've fostered so well in our approach to old school. There are many areas of the game that require real change, but the area we're talking about specifically today is our approach to microtransactions. Today, MTX and RuneScape is a major part of how we fund the game. Despite the continual community feedback out there in the world, whether on Reddit, on a survey, or at RuneFest, we've been tentative to take action because of that reality. And that change now comes with real risk. But it's time to be brave. Because frankly, sticking to the path we're on also represents real risk to this game, both in its ability to have a growing community and to how it sustains itself. We're now on a mission to rejuvenate RS3's future with a firm focus on game integrity. That means thinking about the ways that we monetize, how the game looks, the broader player experience, and our approach to producing grade A content. We've run surveys, we've captured feedback. Now is the time for us to stop talking and get actions on the table. Today is all about how we're doing that. And so on that note, I'd like to hand over to the great team working on our mission to transform our approach to MTX and what you can expect to see in the months ahead.
We need to test our thinking on big changes we want to make to how MTX is approached in RuneScape. These need to be changes that you feel are right and also have some consideration to the game's sustainability.
We also must address the unhealthy relationship of microtransactions within our game design. To make those changes, we need to better understand the implications any change could have for the game, from design to player behavior to the game's current operating model.
To find what works, we need to run a series of experimental changes with our aptly named experiments. We know not everything can be tested with surveys or paper-based designs. So any new ideas we try will be short-term tests, no more than a couple of weeks, that we conduct in the game to get tangible data and feedback from you.
Beginning next month, we'll be testing a new experiment each month for 3 months, with communication before they enter the game covering why we're doing it and what we're looking to learn.
We'll listen to your feedback while it's live, and then pull the experiment from the game. After that, we'll look at the data and build a picture of how the experiment went.
And given it's a conversation, you can expect us to follow up with what we've learned and our next steps after we've completed all 3.
Our first experiment in July turns off Treasure Hunter entirely, with only stars and knowledge bombs available for direct purchase during the experimental period.
Our second
That's So I remember when Treasure Hunt was first released into RuneScape. Before it was released into RuneScape, they had a clause on their website that said they would never introduce the ability to pay for power, to buy power. Um, this was pointed out by the entire RuneScape community, uh, and then they removed it. In fact, let me see if I can find that page again real quick. So I couldn't find the specific page in like the Wayback Machine or anything. However, right here, you can see the removal of real life ability paragraph in rule. On it, the 6th of April 2012, Jagex removed the following paragraph from the real world trading rule. Quote, we don't want players to be able to buy their way to success in RuneScape. If we let players start doing this, it devalues RuneScape for others. We feel your status in real life shouldn't affect your ability to be successful in RuneScape. This was on their website. And the moment they introduced the Squeal of Fortune, which is what it was originally called, they removed this. So they still haven't responded to this. By the way, they removed it and then never talked about it, and everyone just forgave them for it. Allowed RuneScape to continue to thrive, even though they're literally going back on their word. But maybe they're going back. Maybe they're going to be removing this. It gives me hope with them wanting to remove treasure keys. We'll see.
Experiment in August runs during our next Double XP event, where we'll disable the ability to use MTX-based skilling items like proteans and dummies for the duration of the event.
Our third experiment in September will see us launch a host of cosmetic overrides onto the marketplace, including items previously available only via Treasure Hunter.
During these 3 months, we'll also launch one longer running test, Cosmetic Free Worlds. We expect these to be available for at least 4 weeks, and it will help us gauge interest in a more grounded visual identity for the game.
Everyone can get involved in providing feedback, whether you participate directly in the test or not, and we'll be listening to your opinions across the community.
We're super excited to launch experiments that will teach us what we need to know to really improve the place of any microtransactions in the game.
Our experiments might not always hit the mark for everyone, but doing this with you lets us find out what works and what doesn't.
We are excited to go on this journey with you, Scapers. Together, we can find a better way forward.
Thanks to the whole team working hard on making this happen. This has never been done before, so please do provide the team and your fellow players the space for constructive dialogue throughout this process. It won't be easy. Experimenting means there could be imperfections, which is why we're involving you and being open about our challenges. Through what we learn in the data and with your feedback, we can find our path forwards. We know where we want to be, we just need to figure out how to get there. We're as serious as can be about overhauling RS3's approach to monetization and creating a future where our success is measured by the size, the engagement, and the satisfaction of our community. The process of change starts today as we head towards an exciting new era for this beautiful game. If you'd like to know more, please do head on over to runescape.com for a detailed blog on our decision making and some commitments on how we'll approach this. Thank you as always for watching, and we'll see you in Gillinor.
Okay, so they're correct when they say that something like this has never been done before, because they've never attempted to walk back their monetization ever. What they did instead was recreate RuneScape as it was originally in 2007, long before the Squeal of Fortune. But here's the thing. Jagex got their answer when they launched old school RuneScape. An enormous amount of people came back to the game specifically for old school RuneScape because it cut out the evolution of combat, it cut out all of the microtransactions, it brought the game back to what it originally was. So they have their answer. They just ignored it. But let us take a look at this, right? So it says, starts off by pretty much saying the same thing, that it's time to take action on it. It's no secret that it currently represents, yep. So they read from the script. So let's see, 42% of respondents feel microtransactions currently detract from the experience. Well, yeah, you can just buy power. There's no reason to actually play the game if you can just buy all of your experience. Of those who buy it, 86% of them are unhappy with the mechanics of Treasure Hunter. Brother. So, if we assume, right, because we don't really have exact numbers of any of this, right? So if we assume that like 500,000 players, if we assume that they have like, let's say, 1.5 million total players across RuneScape 3 and old school RuneScape. And then we assume 500,000 of that is exclusively RuneScape 3. Okay. If we then go off the assumption that, say, 15% of them, right, which is an extreme low ball, right, which is about 75,000 players who spend money on microtransactions, that means that this 86% figure that they're citing is about 64,500 players, right? Which, if we go by their metric of microtransactions making up the majority of their money, is simply far too small. So let's adjust this number a little bit. Okay, so according to this, which is Jagex's financial reports for 2024. And I'll put a link to this down in the description as well as the website that it comes from, which I think if I just, yeah, it's this website right here. I'll make sure to have this down in the description so that way you can go and look at it for yourself. It is this one right here. Full accounts made up to 31 December 2024. It's this very first one, 59 pages. It might be different depending on when you click it. But according to this, in 2024, they made 151 million pounds. If we, again, have to make a lot of assumptions here, right? So if we estimate this to be between anywhere between 50 and 75%, we'll say 60%, right? Just to be like average. Let's see, that would put it at 90.6 million of this is just from microtransactions. And then if we assume, because again, there's a lot of assumptions here because we don't actually have anything concrete for numbers, right? If we assume that the average person is spending about 85 pounds, right? And we divide that by the amount of money that they made, that gives us about an assumed average player base of about 1,065,000 that are buying microtransactions, which then puts that 86% number that we see here at 915,900 players, which goes a long way in telling us why they're actually making this, right? Because if we went off the assumption, our first assumption of it only being about 500,000 players that do it and all that, right? Or that play RS3 and then only 75,000 of those actually spend money, it would be nonsense basically. And they would ignore this entirely and wouldn't care. So 900,000 puts it in a lot better perspective of why they're doing this. So, 60% of ex players felt that microtransactions detracted from their experience of the game. I quit because of them. They put in the Squeal of Fortune and I quit immediately. 63% of ex players said they would be more likely to return if we address key concerns with XP related microtransactions. Yes, if they removed all capabilities of buying power, all. That means the training dummies, their fucking treasure token bullshit keys, all of it, I'd return. I'd give RuneScape a genuine try, right? And actually, I might be able to enjoy it. The primary reason that I can't enjoy it right now is because, like, all this work I'm doing, someone else is just going to effectively nullify by paying $500 and getting the exact same progress in a fraction of the time. So let's see. So we're going to change it. And by the way, this is literally over half of the people who stopped playing said these. So they should definitely be listening to them. So we're going to change it. We will materially change the way microtransactions work in RuneScape, and our ultimate ambition, and it's an ambition at this stage, is to entirely redesign the way we approach monetization in RuneScape. We are willing to take risks to help or to trust in you to help us and get rid of the taint of our current approach. This is one of the many huge opportunities for RuneScape to grow, and we're going to grab it with both hands. I personally wouldn't. They probably say grow because of investors, but I wouldn't say grow here because any growth that happens would just be them getting back to where they were before they introduced microtransactions. Um, this will be difficult and it will take time. There's a lot involved in getting this right and doing it reasonably, or responsibly. Oh my God, I can't read. While making sure we sustain the game. But with your involvement, we know we can get it right and secure an exciting long-term future for this game. So on that note, let's dive into what we were planning to do, why, and how you can get involved. Our mission. We must find a better approach for what and how we offer additional purchases within RuneScape. To do this, we need a better understanding of the impact of potential changes. Oh, actually, before we get into this, it's not just purchasable XP that needs to be removed. They also need to remove the capability for people to buy gold, which you can do by like selling the skilling dummies, for example, selling bonds. That is a direct purchase of power. You can get hundreds of millions. It's one of the reasons why gold is so devalued in RuneScape, because you can sell one bond for like 115 million gold in RS3. And so it's like, and a bond is like $10 or some shit. So it's like $10, you can get over 100 mil. It's insane. Um, so anyways, to do this, we need to better understand a better understanding of the impact of potential changes through actions that can lead us to definitive decisions and, more importantly, definitive change. In the next few weeks, we will launch blah 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 the reception. Test our thinking against some criteria, the reception of these alternatives within the community, their expected contribution to the financial sustainability of the game. Look, I'm going to be honest, fucking just close RuneScape 3 down, abandon it, give us a way to play like whatever state it's currently in offline, and just focus on RuneScape, old school RuneScape, and just have that be what you do going forward. Migrate everyone's character over. You'll obviously have to probably do some finagling there because there are skills and whatnot that aren't compatible and all that. So they'd have to. It wouldn't be an easy process or a quick one, right? But That's what I think they need to do, personally. Um, in-game experience. Rather than talking about what we might do, we want to put it in practice by openly evaluating stuff within the game. We'll do this through experiments. So here they have the experiments that they talked about, blah, 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 blah. Disabling Treasure Hunter. This is going to be potentially big. Never mind. Never mind. They they had me in the first half. They had me in the first half. So they're going to turn off Treasure Hunter, but instead of Treasure Hunter, you'll just be able to buy it. Buy it. Capped at one bundle per day. Ooh, people are going to trade around this. This isn't going to be a one bundle per day. Um, oh my God, Jagex, why? Why? Why are you going to disable the thing that lets them buy power only to let them still buy power? Don't think Jagex is actually going to be doing anything. They're still letting you buy power. Because of course they are. Why wouldn't they? God fucking. Oh my God. I went into this with optimism, but this is why you read the fine print. Double XP event with only bonus XP available. We will disable the use of proteans, dummies, lamps, and other skilling items available via microtransaction entirely in our autumn double XP. Will you though? Will you? Because then they can just go to Treasure Hunter because this won't be disabled anymore and they can just buy XP lamps. Oh my God. This does nothing. This is going to do absolutely nothing except boost their Treasure Hunter sales because they're going to lose a bunch during this. Cosmetic Mega Drop. We will offer a large selection of past cosmetic overrides, including some previously only available via Treasure Hunt for direct purchase all at once. Why not? Here's a wild idea. I know. Absolutely wild. Why don't you make it so that we can earn these cosmetics by playing the game and make it a not like horrible RNG, right? Make it something that's not like a fucking 0.1% chance or some horse shit. We'll also have one more bonus experiment, Cosmetic Free Worlds. While we don't have an exact launch window for this yet, we expect to release no later than August and run them until the end of our experiment window. This will help us gauge demand for a more grounded visual look. Should we propose a final approach to MTX that excludes these items? We will allow sufficient notice for you to use anything you have stored up. This experiment exclusively applies to our autumn double XP at this time. So all of your treasure hunter keys, you'll still be able to use those. And if they intend on nixing it, well, hey, guess what? They're not going to give you any amount of notice. They're just going to nix it. So I really hope you haven't been buying and saving a whole bunch of those keys because they're just going to rip them out of your hand and make it so that you paid them money and you didn't get anything for it. They're saying that right here. This experiment exclusively applies to our autumn double XP. Exclusively. Oh my God. What comes next? These experiments mark a 3-month road ahead of us. Over that time, we expect to gather enough insight to help us make big decisions on how we approach microtransactions going forward. Here's a thought. Here's a wild, crazy thought about how you can do this. Okay, fuck what I even said about the cosmetics, right? Whatever. Have it to where you have to buy every single fucking cosmetic, whatever. How about you just remove our ability to fucking buy power? There's a thought. Depending on what we learn, this may be all we need to know. If we feel it won't be. If we feel there's still things that we need to test, we may need to try a few more experiments in the following month. Either way, we'll be communicating clearly and openly a little. Wait. Either way, we'll be communicating clearly and openly a little while after these experiments, so you know exactly. So they're from the way they worded this. This may not be their intent, but from the way they worded this, they're not going to communicate clearly and openly until a little while after the experiments. So not only are they still going to allow you to buy power, not only are they not going to warn you about removing treasure hunter so you can actually, get something for the thing that you paid for, they're also not going to be open and transparent like they said they were going to in this video. Okay. Okay. Sure. Commitments to you. We've had some false starts in our past when it comes to sharing an intention to remove or reduce monetization, particularly with new offerings. Gee, I wonder what that could have been. In acknowledgement of that, we have some firm commitments you can hold us to. Our intent with these commitments is to give you confidence that positively participating is leading us to something better. Well, are you ever going to acknowledge this, Jagex? I wonder, are you ever going to acknowledge the fact that you removed this? Ever? No? Okay. So let's see, what will we do? We will communicate context on our decisions. We will communicate early and often, quote unquote, providing space for discussion and debate. Okay, when are you going to do this though? Because up here you say it's going to be a little while after your experiments. We will consider all types of players and communities throughout our decision making. We will consider every kind of player, spender, and community space in feedback for our experiment evaluations. We don't expect to please everyone, but no one perspective trumps all others. Well, I'll tell you this much. These are the players you should be listening to. The 86% that spend money on your game still and are unhappy with it, the 60 and 63% of former players that quit specifically because of your microtransactions, those are who you should be listening to. Oh my god. Use the opportunity to approach microtransactions in a way that is healthier for the game. We hear your concerns about the existing impact of microtransaction offerings. Addressing this is a core part of our design approach to any solution. Sure it is. What we won't do. Okay. Let's see what you won't do, quote unquote. We will not use this opportunity to be more aggressive in offering XP benefits outside of the core game loop. We may explore optional offerings that serve those who are shorter on time in future, but not in a way that discourages gameplay. Here's the issue with this statement. By offering to let players buy XP on its own discourages gameplay. Because by them buying XP, even if it's just bonus XP, By them buying it, they have to play the game less, which means you are discouraging gameplay. So by what they're saying here, that means that they're not going to be offering or showing you any capabilities of buying XP. That's what this means. But we all know that's not what they're going to do. We will not make our final proposed changes without showing them to you first. We will clearly communicate what we intend to do, unless, of course, it isn't about the Autumn Double XP, because they state right here that it is exclusively applying to only that. Okay, so it's just keep that in mind, right? What we intend on doing, when and why, prior to any changes being implemented to allow for final feedback. Again, unless it's anything to do with not the Autumn Double XP, in which case they're not going to fucking give you any heads up at all from their own fucking mouth. Okay. We will not go silent on MTX at the end of this process. The era of this being a taboo subject for us is over. We will continue to invite community feedback on how we approach microtransactions going forward. How about you start with the fact that you removed this line, Jagex? How about we start with that? Something that is 13 years overdue. You never gave any fucking feedback on this. How about you start with that? Content was never king ever since you implemented microtransactions. So don't try to fucking lie to us. Oh my god. While there's a lot going on with this, it is important we are really clear on what this means for the core game. That's what matters most. No, that's not what matters most. What matters most is you removing microtransactions and answering for the thing that you never fucking talked about. Everything you've heard today has zero impact on our content development or roadmaps. Except this isn't true, because if their profits fall and investors start pulling out, they're going to have to start doing layoffs and cutting content. So it absolutely will have an impact. It absolutely will. This is just a straight up fucking lie that they're saying it's going to have absolutely zero. Because if it's actually going to have absolutely zero, then what this means, Jagex, is that if all of your investors suddenly abandon ship and pull all of their funding, that all of the content development for and all of your roadmaps are going to remain exactly the same, and there will be absolutely no layoffs. But let's be honest, we know what the fuck is going to happen if that's the case. You're going to start doing a massive amounts of layoff, your roadmaps are going to change, and content is going to be cut. This isn't like a guessing game. This is how all game development goes. Look at any fucking modern AAA game. I put that in quotes, by the way, AAA, because they're not. The team that currently works on microtransactions are the team working through this project in every experiment. Oh, so you don't have anyone from the side of the game that actually develops the content giving any amount of feedback. You don't have any of the people whose opinions from your, like any of the staff members whose opinions would actually matter on this subject. None of them are actually going to be putting any of their feedback in. Only the people whose sole concern it is to make you money. Those are the only people that are going to be talking about you scaling back microtransactions. Are the people in charge of making you money. Sure. Yeah. No developers or resources have been moved to this project from existing content, and it will stay that way. The roadmap is protected and remains our top priority always. Yeah, the roadmap to your wallet. We need your support. They sure do. They want your money. They need your money. After all, it makes up a staggering amount of their fucking income. Today is just the beginning of a journey and a lot of conversation ahead of us. We know a subject like this won't always be the easiest to talk about. I mean, it's absolutely easy to talk about if you actually want to fucking talk about it. Like, I don't know the reason why you fucking removed this line. You are one of the most knowledgeable and considerate communities you could ask for in gaming. That's not true at all. Let's be honest. Uh, any of the Souls games, speed running, fucking channels like Vati Vidya, which do fucking massive lore deep. Come on now. This is something we can figure out openly in ways other games could never even consider. Sure, sure. When stepping into the unknown, there's always a chance some ideas might not work as is or feel right. Please do your best to provide us and your fellow players the space to approach this constructively. Clear, thoughtful critiques or validations will make. You don't want validations. Don't give them validation. If you give them validation that microtransactions are good, they're just going to keep them in the game, and RuneScape's going to fucking obliterate itself. I mean, even more than it already is. It will make all the difference to us truly learning from this and finding our path forward. Yeah, let's just see. Yeah, okay. Final word. Okay. As Mod North Jagex CEO talked about the importance of this project in his recent Q&A video, it only felt fitting that we leave the final words of this blog to him. Earlier this year, I talked about the importance of shoring up the next 25 years of RuneScape. This isn't just a nice, fluffy statement, it's a company-wide mission. RS3's success should be measured by size and engagement and satisfaction of this community. That change begins now. We will rejuvenate RuneScape 3's future by putting community growth at the heart of our model for the game. Now, see, here's the thing, okay? This used to be their statement. By putting the community first and at the heart of the model of their game, that's why RuneScape became the success that it did. That and the fact that you could fucking run it on a potato through the browser. You really can't run it through the browser anymore. You have to download their fucking client in order to do that. Every player of this game deserves to feel the same ownership that we fostered so well in our old school RuneScape community, and that will lead us to a thriving community this game deserves. See, here's the thing. The old school RuneScape community is a lot of the players that abandoned the game when you introduce fucking microtransactions because you could just buy fucking power and buy gold. You were selling power and gold, something you had firmly stood against. It was the entire fucking reason this line existed. You didn't want players to be able to buy their way to success because you knew that it would devalue the game for others. And that you felt that your status in real life shouldn't affect your ability to be successful in RuneScape. It was your entire stance. That was why you took such a hard line against real world trading. But then you remove this line when you introduce the Squeal of Fortune. We can only get there through a strong focus of integrity from the way we monetize to how the game looks and addressing the challenges, blah, 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 lower the focus, delivering great roadmaps, package with as much grade A content as we can possibly deliver. Addressing microtransactions is the first big step of many to come. It is our most challenging. Microtransaction is currently a big part of the game's model, and any serious overhaul to it will come at a cost, and that means some real risk. We must be bold, frankly, not making changes in the interest of integrity. Also represent experiments. Speak to how seriously we are taking this goal. Gone is the age of speaking. But it's not. It's not. It's not. And the reason it's okay. Constructive criticism, constructive feedback. That's what you want, right? Right? That's what you want. Is constructive feedback. Okay. So here's what you do. Okay. Firstly, remove this just entirely. Remove any ability to purchase power or purchase gold. Start by doing that. Remove the ability, like all of these, great, fantastic, right? Don't do this on just or give us make it so some of these you don't even have to do all of them. You don't even have to do the best ones. Just make it so that some of the cosmetics can be earned through just playing the fucking game. Okay. And then cosmetic free worlds, fuck that. Apply that fucking across the game. Just disable all cosmetics instead of only on some specific worlds. And then lastly, fucking why? Why this line, Jagex? Okay, you started off good by saying that if the final one should exclude in these items, you'll give us sufficient notice. Like, this is good, but then you say that this experiment exclusively applies to our autumn double XP. This should just be a blanket across the board. And if it's not, then you need to give refunds to everyone who you're going to be removing their purchased items. Because by at least in my opinion, by making it so that you are just not going to let people who have treasure hunter keys know that you're going to be removing them, and then you just remove them, the people who still have those keys paid for those keys so they could use them. And by you just removing them, that, in my opinion, is tantamount to fraud and false advertisement, because you said they would do this, but then you just straight up removed them without any notification. Now, I don't know if that's actually, like, from a legal perspective, true, but in my opinion, it is. So, yeah, as part of the 63%, in the 60%, if you remove the ability to buy XP in gold, I'll genuinely consider playing RuneScape again.